everyone, we are back to learn another strategy for multiplication. In the last video, we worked on the area model strategy, and in this video, we are going to work on what is called the lattice strategy. I made another wonderful poster for you guys to see in the background, but lattice is a great strategy for those bigger problems. So if you can see on my poster, I have 324 times 56. That's a bigger problem than what we worked on last time. And when I go through the steps of lattice, you're going to see why it's a lot easier to use with a bigger problem. The big thing with this is you have to be really neat with your work. Otherwise, if you're sloppy, it's going to be confusing. So be super neat. Before we get started with the actual steps, I want to explain the why lattice is a great strategy. Once again, we are breaking apart those numbers into smaller, easier numbers to multiply, and it does deal with place value just in a different way than how we did it in area model. So when you see the steps, you're going to see that they're broken down a lot, and as long as you're following the steps, it should be really manageable to do. We are going to work on is 262 times 36. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to stretch out 262, but not the same way we did with area model. We are literally just going to space out the numbers 2, 6, and 2. Write them on our piece of paper or board just like this, and then we're going to look at 36 and just stretch it out into 3 and 6. So as you can see, I wrote 36 on this side of my board, and then I added those same boxes that we saw with the area model strategy. But here is the final piece in making your arrangement that has to be super, super neat. You're going to be placing in diagonal lines, and I'll explain why we're doing that in a second, but I'm going to use a different color so that they stick out more and you can see what happens next. So you can see I made my diagonal lines. In my class, I call these lanes because they follow a lane pattern, and you're going to find out that you have to stay in your lane when we get to one of the other steps. So the next step, what you're going to do is similar to our area model, is you are going to pick digits 2 at a time and start multiplying them and putting your answer in those squares where they have the broken up diagonal line. So I'll kind of give an example. So first we would do 2 times 3, which is 6. We're going to place that 6 right down here. We're not going to place anything up above because it's a ones number. And if it were, for example, a larger number above 10, we would add it above, and you'll see that later on. So like I said before, you may encounter some multiplication where it is above 10, your answer. So let's look at that for an example. If we have 2 times 6, that's going to be 12. 12 has 1 10 and 2 1s. So that's how we're going to fill out that box right there to show that. So I'm going to write that down really quick. Now, I can keep filling out my chart. All we're doing is moving on to the next place value and multiplying our 2 digits over here. So 6 times 3, and then we'll do 6 times 6, and then we'll finally move over to our hundreds place value, and we'll do 2 times 3 and 2 times 6 and fill in the chart, just like we did over here. I'm going to pause it and fill it in and show you what it should look like at the end. All right, so all of my answers are filled in now. This is where our lanes are going to be used, and this is where you have to be really neat about it, or it gets really sloppy and confusing and we're not sure what we need to do. So what we're going to do, we're going to start from our smallest lane right here, and we are going to add whatever's in it. This one, it only has a 2, so we're just going to write down 2 right below. Our next one is going to be a little bit trickier. We are going to add, if you look at this lane right here, we're going to add 6 plus 1 plus 6. So that's 13. We're not going to write 13 all the way down here. We're going to do it just like we would do with addition. We're going to write a 3 down here and then carry our 1 into the next place value lane. Our next lane, right over here, you can see I placed that 1 up above that we carried. We're going to add 2 plus 3 plus 8 plus 1. Now I'm going to think about friendly numbers. 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13, and finally plus 1 is 14. Once again, you're going to write that 4 down here, carry your 1 up above. We're going to look at this lane right here. We have a 6, a 1, a 1, and another 1. So 6 plus 1, 7, 8, 9. Just going to place the 9 down below. There's nothing that we need to carry there because it's below 10. And I'm going to jump ahead and go to this last little corner, this last little lane. There's a 0 there, so we don't need to put anything. You can see I have all of my added answers in blue below. Now, obviously, you don't have to do this in color at home. I just wanted things to stick out so you can notice them a little bit more. But we're just going to look at the number from left to right, and it is 9,432. And guess what? That's our answer. Now, I totally get that that was a lot of steps going on, but once kids understand the process of how lattice works and understand how you have to be neat and how we follow those lanes and where numbers go, they can actually have a lot of fun with it. And it just breaks the numbers down so much more, and you're only multiplying a 1 digit by a 1 digit, which is a lot easier. So this may not be your favorite strategy, totally okay. It's just one to use, one to practice, and one to explore when you are working with multiplication. All right, so it's riddle time. You're going to get the answer from the last riddle, and you will get a new riddle. And I have my little guest appearance from Ziggy. He wants to tell the answer. So let me read the riddle from the last video first. So, I'm an odd number. Take away a letter, and I become even. What number am I? So, Ziggy, can you tell me? Can you tell me? So, the letter is 7. So, 7, S-E-V-E-N. Take away the S. Technically, it's even though it doesn't sound the same. So that was the answer to that riddle. The next one, here we go. What has to be broken before you can use it? Think about it. All right. Ziggy might be ready for a nap. Good luck answering the riddle, and have fun practicing lattice, and we'll see you for the next math video.